So, yo, what's going on, you guys? So to finalize this last part of my personal finance kind of education and really just game and advice that I wish I would have had when I was younger, and I really want to emphasize that it was advice that I wish I had when I was younger. I don't know if you guys already participate in any of these methods or have practiced any. If you have one that already works for you, that's amazing, stick to it. But if you never had anything, I would recommend you build something maybe on what it is I shared with you, and just add little parts of it that make sense and work best to your lifestyle and what you aim to accomplish with your financial goals. So everything that I'm going to share with you is essentially tools that I wish I would have learned about sooner that I now use to help me, and I hope that they help you too. Now that you understand diversification of your disposable income, and you also know the importance of diversifying your investments, and you also understand the importance of hopefully now generally saving and building up this financial habit for yourself, that's a key component here. Analyzing your financial habits and noticing that which ones do you have to fix, and don't overthink about them as like, hey, I need to go to the gym every day. No, don't put that stress on yourself. More so just find the problem and begin to adapt to more responsible, more profitable ways of investing into assets or investments. So therefore, you're using your money wisely and actually using it to grow rather than just die. So that helps you out. And really now jumping into the saving part, which is the last important concept of all this personal finance. Really, spending, no one's really going to tell you how to do that. I can always tell you invest your money rather than spend it, but it's up to you at the end of the day. And like I said, enjoy life. We only get one shot at it, bro. Do what you love. But in terms of saving, now this one's really critical because you always need to be prepared. Worst case scenario. We all hopefully have now experienced, how life can maybe throw a curveball, be a little bit rough sometimes. You want to be prepared for that. So saving is a very key component to your personal finance, your whole financial health, and long-term achievement of your goals. So saving, there's a really cool tool that you can use that I think is probably one of the best tools to slowly compound your income that you're using towards saving, and it's called a high yield savings account. I personally have an American Express one. This one has a lot of benefits when you go with American Express. Once you open this high yield savings account with them, now you're working with them as a bank, and they already kind of see you as a client. So when you go to request a credit card with them, which is a very useful, very essential credit card that you want to have in your disposal. Many of us, if you haven't gotten into credit just yet, feel free to reach out to me. I'll help you learn how to build it, learn how to, apply for the right credit cards and use points and make purchases that are actually going to be write-offs at the end of the year. Little advice that, I learned along the years and I think can help you. That's for another conversation though. But for now, using this high yield savings account through American Express will help you later down the road when you apply for this credit card, get approved, because now they've seen you as a client that, you've been working with them to hold X amount of your income. You built that relationship, it's going to be easier for you to get approved, and the bigger amount that you have in the high yield savings account, the more that this credit card will get approved for, because they've been holding on to a decent amount of your income for a decent amount of time, and you've built this relationship with them. It's going to be much more easier for them to help finance you with bigger credit limits. So this helps you in building your own businesses, and maybe you have to use your credit cards to pay for some out-of-pocket expenses. Different forms of how credit card can be used to help you. But really, a high yield savings account is a vehicle that you really want to take advantage of if your goal is really just to save and preserve money, but still grow it at a consistent rate. For the most part, I believe most high yield savings accounts are currently paying at a 3.75 APY, which isn't going to make you rich, but at the end of the day, it's better to grow your money at some rate than just make it lose, the full 7-8% that we face in inflation, which is also important that you guys begin to understand while saving. If you already have money saved, it's very important that you let it into these high yield savings accounts or some form of passive investing that's maybe not going to make you the most percentages, but some percentages, because if the money isn't growing, it's dying, and that's because of inflation. It's an economic factor that we have. Cost of products and services are increasing, but our dollars are remaining the same. So therefore, the dollar is losing buying power of these services and products as they continue to rise, but the dollar stays the same. So this difference is what we call inflation. Therefore, technically losing its value because you need more of it to buy these products and services. So that's why it's very important that, although maybe you don't want to invest, you're not, taking those first steps into trading or really just buying any stocks, some form of, passive investing such as a high yield savings account would be very useful. I really advise people get into things like a Roth IRA, which is the second tool that you would want to get into for saving. You know, using a Roth IRA, you can only contribute, I believe now for the 2026 year, they raised the limit to $7,500 a year. So these are kind of small contributions that are being made to a portfolio that's being managed and invested throughout the period of your lifetime that you could kind of relate to as a retirement account. Still, I believe you have access to all the income. Don't quote me, but I use Fidelity. So with Fidelity, you can go ahead and ask them all the questions and they'll have the answers for you. If you do ever need to access that income, what are the penalties and how does it work if you do, happen to use the income before you reach your retirement age of around 60. So that's a great tool to use because Roth IRAs take the income that you put into them. You don't have to contribute that full amount of $7,500 a year. You can contribute what you can and as you can, and it just grows. It's a passive form of investing, but if you ever need the income, always speak to your advisor or the person that helps you make the account. Hey, what are the penalties? What am I looking at in worst case scenario I ever do need access to this money? But that's another tool that you want to have, which is a Roth IRA, which is more so a long-term investment portfolio. But keep in mind, it's also a form of passive investing. So the money that you're saving is now growing, but it's not being exposed to all the risk as stocks and option trading are. It's more so protected, being managed by well-established institutions, promising you a return and keeping your money safe. That you can use working with banks in your local area to save and passively invest your money are called CDs, certificates of deposit. These are forms of saving your money but working with the bank to grow it at a manageable risk and rate. So they're going to be managing and promising you your money back, but also doing their best to provide a return. Right now, I looked at current rates. They're looking like about 2% to around 4%. Using different risk to reward ratios depending on the CD of your choice. When you sit with the bank, they're going to provide you different time horizons, different risk, and different reward ratios for the CD that you choose. Using all of these tools will give you the best strategies to be able to save your money and protect it from inflation, so it's growing at some rate compared to nothing at all. Many individuals just save and they let their money grow at 0.0% and expose it to inflation and lose value over time on money that they work so hard for. Use the income that you've saved to grow and invest it with tools that expose it to as little risk as possible but grow it at some rate compared to just nothing at all. Using all these tools is going to be the best strategy that you're going to have as an individual to protect your money and grow it slowly. But that concludes everything with our personal finance, from personal finance, calculating your disposable income diversification, investment diversification, and saving tools that you can use to grow your income. Spending, that's really all up to you. I summarized it. It's a 60% investing, 30% saving, but there's 10% left for you to spend. But if you choose to be disciplined and invest it to more, just know you'll always reap a greater result at the end of the day for your sacrifices. But I hope these videos were able to help you guys, and welcome to the beginning of investing. And now we're going to start diving into investing versus trading so you guys understand the differences and really getting your brokerage set up. And now we're taking the first step into your investing and trading journey. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next video. Jerry Trades the SoCal Trading Group, over and out.